Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Kent City Council meeting for July 19th, 2022. I am so excited. We have a packed house this evening. There are some really great things on our agenda, so very much looking forward to this meeting. And thank you all for being here tonight. Kim, could you please call our roll?
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Oh, I apologize. We are going to stand and do the flag salute first.
Bring out the jingles.
They're hiding right back there on the side. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you. Okay, now, Kim, if you could please call the roll.
Thank you. Madam Mayor Ralph?
Here.
Council President Boyce?
Here.
Councilmember Fincher?
Here.
Councilmember Kaur?
Here.
Councilmember Larmer?
Here.
Councilmember Michaud?
Here.
Councilmember Thomas?
Here.
Councilmember Troutner?
Here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kim. Item number 3 on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. Are there any changes or additions from council or staff? All right, seeing none, a motion would be in order to approve the agenda as published.
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 4, public recognition. This is where all the good things are happening in this meeting tonight. So very excited to be here. The first item on our agenda is Employee of the Month. And so each month we get the opportunity to recognize an outstanding Kent employee. And the best part about this is that these employees are nominated by their peers. So the people that they work with every single day. And they're nominated for a variety of reasons, whether it's a special project that they took on or just the way that in their everyday approach to their job and to the service of this community, they exemplify the mission, vision, values, and goals for the city of Kent. In this case, I think that our July Employee of the Month is a little bit of both of these. She is on vacation, so we're going to talk about her, and then we can, everyone can congratulate her when she gets back. But our July 2022 Employee of the Month is Jen Graff. Jen was hired by the city on February 1st, 2017 as a senior systems analyst in the IT department. This position was converted to a business systems analyst in 2019. The position analyzes business processes and associated systems, manages documentation and communication, provides assistance with procurement and implementation of new systems or changes to existing systems, and is able to perform second-tier support of all critical business systems here at the city, and coordinates that work in conjunction with the city departments, officials, IT staff, vendors, and consultants. That's the boring part. Here's the part where we get to talk a little bit about Jen. Jen was nominated because she has a positive can-do attitude and is willing to help in whatever capacity is needed. She is able to explain complex subjects in a language you can understand, and her analysis is detailed and thorough. She responds quickly to customer needs, takes the initiative to fully understand processes, and is diligent in her efforts to resolve problems, work collaboratively, and is approachable, and she listens. She has incredible dedication to her work and her coworkers. Jen is one of those people you hope to run into at the office and hope you find yourself working on a project with her. She is pleasant, hardworking, funny, and kind. Jen continuously embraces our values, and we celebrate her as July's Employee of the Month. I want to say thank you and congratulations to Jen Graff. All right, next, this is a little bit of a hint into why it looks like we are sitting in a park here in council chambers this evening. So the first proclamation we have is the proclamation for Parks and Recreation Month. Joining us at the podium is Julie Paris-Gondola, our Parks Director. I'm going to go ahead and read the proclamation, and then Julie, I'll ask you to give us a little bit of information on our Parks Department. All right, the proclamation says, whereas parks and recreation are an integral part of communities throughout this country, including Kent, and whereas parks and recreation programs are vitally important to establishing and maintaining the quality of life in Kent, ensuring the health of all residents, and contributing to the economic and environmental well-being of a community and a region. And whereas parks and recreation programs build healthy, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease, provide therapeutic recreation services for those who are mentally and physically disabled, and also improve the mental and emotional health of all Kent residents. And whereas Parks and Recreation support the economic vitality of communities by providing frontline jobs for both youth and adults we are hiring, assisting with childcare and youth programs for the workforce and our residents, and by promoting community revitalization. And whereas Parks and Recreation fosters social cohesiveness and builds community morale in Kent by celebrating its diversity, providing spaces to come together peacefully, modeling compassion, promoting social equity, connecting social networks, and ensuring all people have access to its benefits. And whereas Parks and Recreation strengthen community identity by providing facilities, programs, and services that reflect and celebrate community character, heritage, culture, history, aesthetics, and landscape. And whereas Parks and Recreation sustains and stewards Kent's natural resources by protecting habitats and open spaces, connecting people to nature, and promoting the ecological function of parklands. And whereas July is celebrated across the nation as Parks and Recreation Month, now therefore I, Dana Ralph, Mayor for the City of Kent, do hereby proclaim July 2022 to be Parks and Recreation Month in Kent, Washington, and urge all of our residents to experience the many benefits by visiting Kent's many trails, parks, and recreation resources.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Ralph.
Yeah, please.
Oh,
Quick picture. You. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Thank you.
thank you, Mayor Ralph, Council President, and council members. I do just want to give a thank you to you all for supporting us over the years. We have done some pretty incredible things together, and we're not done yet. We have some really cool stuff coming, so it's going to be just a great time for our profession out there. Thank you for letting us add a little Park and Rec flair to the dais tonight. I think if you ask any Park and Rec professional, we think every day is Park and Recreation Day. I know I do. I do just want to take the time for what I'm going to say is to personally thank all the staff within the Parks Department. We have 115 career staff right now, around 200 part-time temp seasonal staff. We have hundreds of volunteers. We've got community partners. We've got guiding commissions and so much more that really help us deliver all that we have to do to serve our residents, visitors, and businesses in the city. And I have to laugh because those that know me, I'm never at a loss for words. I'm not now, but for me, the challenge is trying to put into words the respect and appreciation I feel for this team. It's hard because words are words, and I would love to do more. And so I just want to make sure that I'm conveying as much as I can. It's been a very challenging last couple of years with the global pandemic, especially for our profession across the nation, because our entire job is gathering people together and connecting community, and we couldn't do that for a long time. But our team didn't skip a beat. They really worked in extraordinary ways and reinvented things to continue to deliver services to our community, and we're just now starting to see some of the light coming out of that tunnel in that dark time. This team is fun. They are resilient and strong. They are innovative and passionate and dedicated professionals in all that they do, and they are continually striving for greatness. We are constantly raising the bar in the Parks Department, and I could not be more proud of all of them, and I am truly humbled and grateful, truly, for every second of who they are, not just as individuals, but also as professionals. And I just have to say, it really is, leading this team is one of the most greatest honors I've got, so I just wanted to say that. So how about one more round of applause for the greatest profession ever, Parks and Recreation. Get all here for that. Thank you.
Really? Yeah, greatest profession and greatest team. I am continually amazed at what our Parks Department does for this community. I will, really quick, I was going, Facebook comes up with the memories, and the one that popped up today was my son going to junior high camp with Dave Hobbs, and at the end went through all the things he did, and I said at the end, you can never underestimate the impact that a vital and important Parks program has for the community. And it was about the conversations they'd had at camp that week. And that was 9 years ago, and that holds true today, and it will on into the future, because Parks really is a huge part of our quality of life in Kent. So thank you to all of our Parks team. All right. We are going to go on to the next item on the agenda, which is a proclamation for National Night Out. So another community building event that happens here in the city. And joining us tonight to accept the proclamation is Chief Padilla. So the proclamation says, whereas the National Association of Town Watch is sponsoring a unique nationwide crime and drug prevention program on August 2nd, 2022, called National Night Out. And whereas the City of Kent plays a vital role in assisting our police department through joint crime and drug prevention efforts across the city and is supporting National Night Out locally. And whereas it is important that all residents of the City of Kent know the value of crime prevention programs and the impact that citizens who participate can have on reducing crime and creating a safe and vibrant community. Whereas National Night Out provides an opportunity for the community to come together as neighbors for an evening of celebration and fun that will strengthen our bonds and unify us in our goal of creating a strong community. Now, therefore, I, Dana Ralph, Mayor of Kent, do hereby proclaim August 2nd, 2022 as National Night Out in Kent, Washington, and encourage all residents, neighborhoods, and communities to participate in the city's crime prevention efforts to more tightly weave the fabric of community and strengthen community spirit.
All right. Thank you. All right, thank you. We can clap. I was just looking at the driving green there, thinking how great that'd look in my office. Yeah. So, Mayor, members of the City Council, thank you. It's an honor to accept this proclamation on behalf of the department. As you know, normally our community education specialists are here, Stacy, Judd, and Sarah Wood, who do a lot of work behind the scenes to put this on. And in addition to that, our multimedia team, our comms team, every department in the city, and all of you come out to support this event. In most jurisdictions, National Night Out is more police community centric, which is a huge part of what we do here. But we've expanded that to be more about bringing police community, government services, elected officials to have good discussions, solve problems, enhance public safety, right, and build relationships. So we do it with a little extra flair here. It's all hands on deck. So many thanks to everyone there. For those who are not familiar with National Night Out, it's a great opportunity for our community to come together. The premise behind National Night Out is that when neighbors come together and talk and build relationships, safety goes up, crime goes down. It was started decades ago, and it's still true today. We think we will have over 55 events to host this year. Our plan is always to have someone in this uniform or in a city uniform, our city government show up to host you and thank you for being there. There's still time to sign up. If you haven't signed up yet, your neighborhood can go to our website at www.kentwa.gov/police. Scroll down to our community engagement tab, look for National Night Out information, and register your neighborhood. We will get you in there. We'll do our best to come see you that night. So I thank you again for this honor. It is a great honor to receive the proclamation, and we really hope to see a lot of everybody out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. One of the things that I like to remind people is it doesn't have to just be your neighborhood or your cul-de-sac. Church groups, businesses, community organizations, you can all come together and have a National Night Out. It really just is about coming out on that first Tuesday in August and getting together with people, talking to each other, and building community. So whatever that looks like for you, that's an option, and we would love to be able to send a visitor to your group for that evening. So everything from barbecues to ice cream socials, everything in between. It is a fabulous night just to be out and about and talking to people and building community. So strongly recommend it. All right, now I think we have the main event. So that's what my agenda is telling me. It says recognition of adaptive recreation state Special Olympic athletes, and Laura Castillo is going to join us, and then we get to celebrate all of you in this room.
Yes. I have a crowd in here.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too. I am too. I love your faces. I love your faces. And I promised that I would not talk all night long. Is this me? No. Because I probably don't even need a microphone because I'm a very loud person. So I want to first of all say that I'm Laura Castillo, the Adaptive Rec Program Coordinator, for those of you who don't know who I am. And I am so excited to be here today. recognize the amazing athletes that we have in this room. And I will get to that introduction, but I'm going to give you a quick overview because this is really only just a slice of what adaptive recreation offers. We've got 5 pages of programs, and this is our competitive, like individual and team competitive sports. We partner with Special Olympics. We offer, let's see, fall we bowl, winter we play basketball, spring we have swimming, cycling, and track and field, and t-ball in the summer. And all have individual skills or team competition added to that. So we attend all their tournaments, and you'll see all the medals. I hope you guys brought sunglasses because you might be blind when we leave here. I have personally worked at the city. I came as an intern 25 years ago, and I never left because this community out here is my community outside of my home. Yeah. They helped raise my son, who's 18, off to college next year, which is fantastic. And they've trusted me and all the staff to raise them. And some of them I've known since they were 4 years old. So I can't say enough about this group. But I do, before I get to the big introduction, because I won't ramble on tonight for you guys, I want to invite you, if you want to see some really great competition, on August 20th, up in Everett. It's a long ways. It's a long ways. We have to travel to get to these competitions. And families bring their athletes to these competitions. They come support. They do all that. And if you guys want to come support us, Karsh Field in Everett on August 20th is our regional tournament for softball and t-ball. Okay? So you are welcome to join us, but it is a long ways to go, but we'd love to see your faces, wouldn't we? Yes. 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 Okay, so without further rambling on, I'm going to ask all of the athletes to kind of come up to the front here, if you can make your way up with all your medals. Bring your Mr. T, and let's show this off. Okay, you guys can turn around. Let's look at the audience. We'll show the council too. You guys can do the twirl. We're going to do the twirl.
But don't get dizzy.
A lot of medals.
I would like to talk about each individual just to let you know how many years they have put in for competition and how successful. half of the group could not wear their medals. They had so many. So some of them have brought their bags with. So when I call your name, I want you to step forward so I can brag about you. Okay? Rachel Longino. Go ahead and step forward, Rach. Rachel has been doing Special Olympics and adaptive recreation programs for 21 years, you guys. Been a part of cycling and basketball, and she continues to cycle with us a lot, don't you? That's your main. That's right. We've moved on, haven't we? And I've known you since you were 4 years old. Thank you for coming out tonight, Rachel. Margaret Ulbricht, where are you? That's right. Come on down. 30 years. You want to stand right there? Okay, you do it. 30 years. We've got bowling, basketball, softball, swimming, track and field, and cycling.
Of course. I have a full bag full of medals also, by the way.
Thank you. Okay, next up. Amy. 42 years. Right? Let me tell them your sports, Aim, because you've done everything. Cycling, bowling, track. What else? Basketball. And? What else did we miss?
Cycling.
Your last sport. Cycling.
Seeing a theme.
Hey, Carrie Payne, show us your medals. She's only wearing a few tonight for her many accomplishments. She's been with us 30 years. Cycling and softball. Right?
42.
Very nice, yeah. And she rides the 40K.
Wow.
Only female on our team that does that.
6 bronze.
Yeah.
This was the trifecta before the pandemic. And yeah, I really earned a lot of them.
That's awesome.
And you got them all on, Brandy. I know you weren't happy about it, but we love it. Bring it down. Come show them off. This is all for swimming. This is Brandy Hendrick. 11 years of Special Olympics. Come on out here. Everybody has to see this. All for swimming.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
Incredible.
We have 2 brothers here tonight. We have Michael Powers, 18 years. Michael, can you step forward and wave at everybody? Softball and basketball. And his older brother, Jeremy Robinson, with 28 years, softball and basketball.
Puget goes.
Where are you? Ryan hardly does anything. Just 22 years. Just 22 years in cycling, basketball, bowling, and softball. Spencer has been, how many years did you say? You said 5.5, but I think it's a little longer than that.
I did
Do you want to tell us? Swimming, track,
swimming, track,
and softball.
track, softball,
That's right. Nice job.
and basketball.
Okay, and Jonathan Serrano, 6 years with us, and he is a swimmer. He does track and field, basketball, and t-ball. Molly Stevenson, are you ready? Take it out. Heck yeah! 12 years, and she is our swimmer. Yeah. Justin Siebert, where are you? Mom, you might have to help me with the years on this one. 13 years, thank you. Swimming, basketball, bowling. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, good job, Justin. Rebecca lost it. Rebecca's been with us for 7 years, cycling, basketball, and softball. Connor Kopp. Where are you, Connor? Come on down. Come on, super successful. 16 years. 16 years of softball, bowling, basketball, and swimming. Andrea Hadley. Andrea! Come on over, Andrea. Andrea, you've been with us for 14 years for cycling, bowling, and basketball. All right, and then Shelby Chase. Where are you, Shelby? Shelby, you've been with us for 18 years, and you know, while I was running around with you, your mom was carrying around my child. Yeah. Yeah, it was so cool. Yeah, we're like family. So let's see. What do we have here, Shelb? 18 years? Basketball, bowling, swimming, and track. Ethan Johnson. How many years have you been doing Special Olympics? Since 1990. Wow. And hold up your bag so they can see. Yeah. And you're part of our cycling, softball, and basketball programs. Any others?
No.
Very nice. And last but not least, we have Melissa Carter. Where are you? So we've got 20 years under our belt, Melissa. And how do you feel? Good. All right, we've got cycling, swimming, softball, and track. Okay, you guys need to take a bow because this is an amazing. You guys, let's stay up here because I want to get a quick picture if we can with the council members and Mayor Ralph today because your accomplishments will not go unnoticed. You guys bring more to the community than anybody can even imagine and you make my quality of life so much better. Hey, stay there. We want to get one more picture. Maybe we can have for the. Hey. Yeah, we should stand up on the chair.
Get over here, I guess.
Stand over here. You guys are welcome to stay and enjoy the meeting, but you can go as well. You don't have to stay. Thank you all for coming out. I appreciate and love you all. Thank you.
I want her to hang on 1 second. I want to get her attention. I don't want Laura to leave.
I love bringing positivity to everything.
You are amazing. Thank you so much for being here, and congratulations on all your medals.
I'm Molly.
It's very nice to meet you.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank
you. Bye-bye.
So as everybody as they're all leaving, just a couple of things I want to point out at. I'll just wait for 1 second. Yeah. It is. Yeah. Okay. 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 Our adaptive rec program here in the city of Kent is absolutely second to none. I don't know that if you all aren't aware of the work that is happening and the spirit and the love of this program, take a few minutes because there is nothing like it anywhere. And I cannot tell you the number of parents and participants that I have talked to over the years that it means everything to them to be able to have a place to come and hang out and just be together and celebrate and be an athlete and do all of these amazing things. And I am so proud of our city for doing this for so long, because not every city has a program like Kent Park's Adaptive Rec has. Laura, I am so glad you are the intern that never left. I can't tell you the heart and soul that you put in to all of our participants every single day. Nobody can do what you do, and nobody can make this program what it is. And from the bottom of my heart, I am so very, very grateful. Thank you. I apologize in the back of the room if it's hard to hear. We're having some technical difficulties, so the speakers back there are turned down. So that's part of the problem. But thank you for making this meeting incredible, and for love it. Want to see everybody back again next year.
I'm happy to show up with all of them again and in a different.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Cheerleaders next time. You haven't seen anything yet, so. But thank you very much.
All right. We are going to move on in the agenda to community events, and I am going to look to Council President Boyce to talk about some of the things coming up in the city of Kent.
We should be ending our meeting. I mean, this.
Right, it's too hard. The transition is pretty difficult here.
Yes, good job. A couple of things going on at the Showwear Center. We do have a Punjabi concert on July 22nd. Safwan, can you help me pronounce this, please? Because I'm not going to mess it up.
Babu Man with Arab Punjabi.
Okay, and that's on July 22nd. So please, if you get a chance to go see that, it will be a great concert. We have Concert Day Parade, July 24th. We have a Showwear Shootout, 3-on-3 basketball tournament. Yeah. Come watch Les Thomas play. That should be easy to see.
One-legged play.
We also have a all-four show at Mustang Roundup on Sunday, August the 21st. We have an Exley doubleheader playoff will be held at Accesso Showwear, also on the 21st. Then we have a Nathan Canoe concert on September 16th and a Lamb of God Omen tour. That's on Monday, October 10th. So, lots of stuff going on at Accesso Showwear Center. Please go to their website and you will find lots of stuff to go and see and take your family. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Right. Councilmember Fincher.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm just going to remind everybody about our Spotlight series. I'm sorry, not the Spotlight. I'm excited because I've seen some of the lists for that. But we have our summer concert series. So that means on Wednesdays and on Thursdays, there is a chance for you to enjoy free music. If you have kids, it's a great thing to do, to take them so that they can enjoy all sorts of acts that kids love. If you're an adult, it's a great thing to do because there's all sorts of music that adults love. And especially when you're out by the lake or when you're at Morrow Meadows Park or kick back at Kent Station. So check it out on our website, and that's our summer concert series. Free entertainment, that is fabulous.
All right, thank you. And before we move on from community events, I want to say thank you first to our Parks Department for bringing back Splash this year. Fabulous event. Had a lot of our park staff as well as our police department out there, and community pie eating contest was back. That was a lot of fun. Just watching the bands and seeing people be out at the park was really great this year. And then I also want to say thank you to our Kent Lions Club. Because Lions, after the pandemic hiatus, brought back cornucopia days, and it was fantastic. We had vendors and people and entertainment, and the parade was fabulous, and just really, really want to thank the Lions for doing that. It's not an event that the city could put on by themselves, and the Lions Club, it is a Lions Club event, and we're so grateful for all of the work that they do in supporting the community and making sure that we've got things like that to get out and celebrate. So thank you. All right, we have another main event tonight, and it's going to be coming up under our public safety report. So joining us is Chief Padilla, and we have a lot to celebrate in the police department. So, Chief, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Madam Mayor. Members of City Council, our report's all about who we've hired. I'm just going to go share the surprise. We've been working really hard to bring our numbers up, particularly in the police officer rank. And as well, we have a corrections officer promotion, which will start first. So I'd like to call up Officer Sky Yarna. Come up front there. So let me get this out here. All right, Sky, like I said, is our newest corrections officer. Just graduated from the academy 2 or 3 weeks ago now. Yeah. Was born and raised in North Seattle, graduated from Roosevelt High School. Before coming to Kent, Sky was a security guard at Western State Hospital for 2 years. He said it was a great stepping stone coming into corrections because he learned a lot of the basic tactics, particularly verbal de-escalation skills. Why Kent? He said he was wanting to start a career in law enforcement, and he met through his brother-in-law, Officer Lai, who's a corrections officer at our jail. They had a conversation, talked more about it, and Sky learned that we have a corrections officer to police officer program. We call it CO to PO. That kicked it off. He got more information and learned that this was the place he wanted to be. So his goal is to still continue to become a police officer, but he says that this corrections officer experience is going to be a huge addition to his learning and growing as he works towards that goal. He said that the staff of the jail have been nothing but welcoming, and he's never felt so welcomed in a new environment anywhere. Something interesting about Sky is that he really enjoys working out and doing strongman training. Yeah. So you're one of those guys that picks up the big stones and all that stuff? Okay. Right on. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce our newest corrections officer, Officer Sky Yarna. Madam Mayor, if you'd do the honors, please.
I've never sworn anyone in on a golf course before. It will still be official, I promise.
All good.
If you could raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Sky Iranan,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the United States of America,
to the United States of America,
the state of Washington,
the state of Washington,
and the city of Kent.
and the city of Kent.
That I will uphold the Constitution
That I will uphold the Constitution
and the laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and the state of Washington,
and the state of Washington,
and that I will obey the rules and regulations
and that I will obey the rules and regulations
of the Kent Police Department.
of the Kent Police Department.
Oh, maybe not. Oh, yeah.
I don't think I missed this guy.
Yeah. Can we get through?
Yeah, look at obstacle course.
My wife Debbie back there.
She's been the rock this whole academy experience. And then my son right here in the middle. Come. Yeah, this is my son Jackson.
You can make it around the house.
I don't know if he can maybe. I don't know.
He lifts stuff, heavy stuff.
Oh, a fist bump, Jackson. How about that?
Oh yeah! There you go.
Good to go.
He's gonna steal the show.
Who wants to go? Alrighty. Looks like he's getting the ball.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, next up, we have some new officers and some lateral officers to swear in. I'll call up the new entry-level officers. I'd like to have officers Munoz, Litki, and Stevenson come up front here. And then right with them, I'd like to invite our lateral officers up here. I'll change the picture so we can see that. Officer Spencer Mead and Malcolm Wilson, come on up. We'll do all 5 of you here at the same time. All right, for our public audience, I'll be introducing them from your left to right. So, Council, it's your right to left. First up, Officer Anthony Munoz is an entry-level officer. He comes from Hemet, if I said that right, California. He graduated in 2016 from high school and then immediately went into the Army a month later at the age of 17. He transitioned out of the Army in 2021 and then pursued a career in law enforcement from that point forward. When we asked him about Kent and why, he said that he had multiple offers from different departments, but Kent stuck out to him the most because of the career opportunities here, the family orientation, and the dedication to serving the community as values that we hold dear. He found himself stuck between 2 different departments, but then also had an opportunity to speak to former Officer Burkhofer, who gave him honest and transparent information about what we do here and why, and that stuck with him, and he chose to come here based on some of that input and others. Something interesting about Anthony, he said that in all seriousness, quote, I believe the most interesting trait I hold is my dedication to being the best father to my 2 little girls. Ladies and gentlemen, Officer Anthony Munoz. Next up, we have Officer Matthew Litki. Matthew is from northern Wisconsin originally, but spent some of his teen years in Las Vegas. Before Kent, he worked at King County Jail for 2 years in Seattle. When we asked him about why Kent, he said that he picked Kent because during these times where policing, where things have been difficult in policing, it feels like Kent officers still have much more positive attitude and want to go out there and serve the community. That stood out to him. Interest for Matthew includes fishing. He's always looking for a new place to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, Officer Matthew Litki. Next up is Officer Kyle Stevenson. Kyle was born and raised in Graham, Washington, graduated from Cascade Christian High School, then attended Pierce College, and ultimately went to Pacific Lutheran University, got his degree, and I'm going to mess this up, kinesiology, health, and fitness promotion. Got it. Before Kent, he was a firefighter, EMT with Pierce County and Graham Fire and Rescue. So chuck up another one coming over to our side. This is another unicorn that's come over. Why Kent? He said Kent because of the camaraderie, support, and family atmosphere here. Something interesting about Kyle was that he is one of those guys that served out in the forest and the wildland as a wildland firefighter, out in the middle of nowhere, battling for forest fires and doing his best out there. So, ladies and gentlemen, Officer Kyle Stevenson. And then we have our lateral officers. Just for everybody's edification, lateral officers right now are extremely hard to get, and particularly if we can find ones that are from our state. The value in having officers come from other departments within our state is they're already certified. The bulk of the training they've received is very similar, if not the same as what we do here in Kent. And so the onboarding time to get them out on the street and serving the community is shortened significantly, like from a year down to 4 months. So very hard to get people to leave good jobs in other places, but we managed to do that. So first up, I want to introduce, let's see here, Spencer Meat. Spencer is originally from Glenoma, Washington. He received his AA from Central College and a BA from Central Washington. Sorry, I said that wrong. AA from Centralia College and his BA from Central. Before Kent, he was a police officer with the Bellevue Police Department for 6 years. So that kind of makes me smile a little. When we asked him why Kent, Spencer chose Kent because he wanted to work closer to home and he wanted to work with this agency that's well respected. Something interesting about him was that he was able to visit with Muhammad Ali at his house before he passed away.
All right.
Rare opportunity there. Ladies and gentlemen, Officer Spencer Mead. And last but certainly not least, we have Officer Malcolm Wilson, closest to me here. Malcolm was born in Tacoma, Washington, and raised by his mother, Pamela. He has 2 brothers, one older and one younger. So yes, as he has written down here, he is Malcolm in the middle. There's kids right now going, what's that? Malcolm attended and graduated from Franklin Pierce High School in 2008 and then studied criminal justice at Eastern Washington University. Before coming to Kent, Malcolm was a deputy at Snohomish County Sheriff's Office for 5 years. We asked him about why he chose Kent, and it was because it seemed like a family here, and he could move closer to home and see his family and friends more. Something interesting about Malcolm is when he went to college, a lot of his teammates and people he went to college with ended up becoming NFL football players, and that was a pretty big deal for a small college. I think, as you guys remember, they had some national championships at that school over the years, so pretty good program there. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, Officer Malcolm Wilson. All right, Madam Mayor.
All right, you could raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. That I will bear true faith and allegiance. To the United States of America. The state of Washington. And the city of Kent. And that I will uphold the Constitution. And the laws of the United States. And the state of Washington. And that I will obey the rules and regulations.
obey the rules and regulations
of the Kent Police.
of the Kent Police Department.
Congratulations. All right, well, the next test is we're going to come over here and sign, and I don't have any idea what order they're in, so you're going to have to find the right one as we go through.
Well, I know not all of you had family come tonight, but those of you that did, want to choose now.
That's my wife back there, my 2 daughters in the corner.
All right.
They've been, like how he said, the rock. They've been supporting me this whole time. Like right now, my daughter's getting crazy. She's not holding it all in. She's there with by my side through all the worst, and I really love her for that. And my daughter. I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but that's my wife also back there, right next to his wife. She's also been my rock. She's there by my side. She works just as much as I do, so it seems like sometimes we never see each other, but it doesn't matter. She always there whenever I have a hard day.
My dad and my mom here, and my brother, who's also a police officer as well. Hopefully he'll be coming to Kent here soon. And then my girlfriend Maddie, all 4 of them were instrumental in me going from fire to police and also making it through academy and now.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, I was going to my mom's here, my older brother, my nephew, my uncle, my grandma, and then some friends from college actually, the East T-shirt, and then some friends from high school. So.
All right, 3, 2.
Big smile. That's not a big smile. Thank you. Thank you. Good job.
You get to reverse the course, they want to shake your hand.
Yeah. Hey, welcome aboard. Congratulations. Welcome aboard. Congratulations. Welcome aboard. Congratulations.
Feeling for all the
Hey, what's up? That's great. Good. You left tennis? I did. I left fire. Knock him in the middle. I love it. Nice to meet you. An eagle, huh?
Yeah.
My
There you go. Thank you.
Terrence Green was backed up for the big guy down there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. All right, guys. I'll see you out in the lobby there in a little bit.
Oh, my son there. Aaron Boyce.
Oh, yeah.
That's my son. Yeah.
Hey, what?
Vernon Adams is there?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
QB.
Who's the gentleman in the back?
Crack me up.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
All right, I'll see you guys outside shortly. All righty.
Cover the guys.
Always a good day. Something interesting on our hiring. Mr. Stevens is living here. We've had 2 brothers recruit their brothers come work for us. So we're going to have, that's always interesting. It's a good sign. Our best indicator of how we're doing is when people invite others to work for us, right? So good. Next up, I just want to put in a early, well, maybe not early, but a timely notice on our upcoming Fall Community Police Academy. As you can see up there, it starts August 30th, runs through November 8th. For those who aren't aware or haven't had a chance to look at it, our Community Academy is a 10-week course, a really great behind-the-scenes look at everything we do in law enforcement. The classes are once a week, like I said. We still have room, but the classes fill up fast. So you want to get on our website, look for community engagement tab, and then go to Police Community Academy. Some of the highlights from that, and I know we've got some attendees sitting right up here in front of us. You know, you get to do everything from see what it feels like to get tased, the police use of force simulator.
That is optional, right, Chief?
It's optional. But if you want the full experience, I think you should ride the Lightning at least once. You know, traffic stops. You get to speak to some of our experts in gangs and learn about, is that graffiti or is that tagging or crime scene investigation. We get incredible positive feedback about the experience, and it's a mutual because we build these relationships and understanding our community. So if you have the time and can make the investment, we'd love to have you. So look for that on our website. And Madam Mayor, that completes my report for tonight, unless there are any questions.
All right. I will say, Chief and I had the honor of going up and handing out certificates to the participants in our teen police academy, our youth academy, a couple of weeks ago, and I was rather surprised at how many of them said their favorite part was being tased. They all had permission from their parents, so it was all there, but there was probably 4 or 5 of them that said that. I'm like, yeah, I don't know that would be my favorite thing, but.
Most people only do it once.
Any questions for the chief this evening? All right.
All right.
Thank you so much. Okay, we are going to move on in our agenda to our Economic and Community Development Report, and joining us is our Chief Economic Development Officer, Bill Ellis.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening again, Council. I'm just going to go over briefly this quarter, some numbers as I have been doing in previous quarters. It seems, I'm talking about it forever now, but there is still a pandemic. It has had an impact on the economy, so I continue to check on how that recovery is happening locally. And not too surprising information here. And again, all the charts I'm about to share backward looking a few weeks. But hospitality has been slowly returning to normalcy. We're seeing that in our lodging tax recovery of revenues there. Broader consumer spending is holding up. Question that you'll see on the nightly news is, will the rising interest rates start to cool down what has been a inflationary environment? So a couple things I just wanted to highlight that are pertinent to workforce development and to some of the earlier conversations that happened at workshop with Superintendent Israel Vela. Job postings have been going up. It's a little hard to see there, but as you can, the red is lower skilled level job postings are actually been some of the highest postings, and it's been up across the board, but those with higher education, oddly enough, there's been less job postings for that. There's been, at the lower educational level, there's been a dearth of workers reported by employers. So the question is, what's going on? The employment rates are still down year over year if we go back to 2020 till now. So what we're actually looking at is a lot of job postings, but our employment rate or our labor participation rate is actually significantly down from prior to the pandemic. So it's been a strange recovery where things that have been presumed for a long time to be linked are not linked in actuality. So you can have job postings up, prices going up, people shopping for jobs, the Great Resignation. You've heard all of these things. But a couple things I want to point out. King County census actually showed a decrease in natural population at the same time that we've been talking about a housing crisis. We have had, just recently with the rising of interest rates, a cooling of our top 10 housing markets. Seattle and Tacoma are national, some of the places where the prices for homes are dropping most quickly. I don't know if we've seen that just yet in Kent itself, but it's interesting that that's happening in Seattle and Tacoma because those were just recently, a year ago, 2 of the hottest housing markets. So there's all this is to say that new builders are going to be discouraged going forward. I've talked to some multifamily developers. They feel the world is a little bit upside down right now with interest rates going up and the cost to construct going up. Inability to find labor, higher cost to construct, more difficult than ever to make a housing project pencil. So even though the housing prices are coming down, what I think might happen, although, you know, right now it's very difficult to make predictions, is that rent would go up higher, and even though housing prices would go down. But job postings are way up, but as I just pointed out, the percentage is way down. So making this to a local context here, you're all aware of the difficulty in finding lifeguards. This has been a national news story. The lifeguarding shortage is kind of emblematic of the labor pipeline issue that we have, and this is where it ties back to earlier our discussion about apprenticeship and vocational education and sort of the need to address all the different elements. That 2 years of interrupted training from the pandemic has reduced sort of the pipeline flow for lifeguards, right? So now only nationally, only 12% of the park systems are reporting themselves as being fully staffed for lifeguards. Cities across America are not able to reopen pools, are not able to put people in place. There have been reported deaths, drownings because of insufficient or lifeguards on duty at different beaches across the country. And I just want to take that for a moment and just extrapolate that to all of the different job occupations that are out there that have had 2 years of interrupted training, especially in the trades and other, and consider that in that environment of the construction costs continuing to escalate, all of the supply chain challenges, and then rising interest rates. And you can see the difficult environment for building housing going forward. So we're not quite out of the affordability situation, even as the prices come down for home ownership. Is kind of the weird environment that picture I'm wanting to paint here. Back to the workforce component of this. College enrollments are also well down, and that's another sort of unexpected thing. I've talked to the deans at Green River or at Renton Technical College or local colleges. They're having a lot of budget challenges because their funding is tied to the enrollment of their students, just like a lot of other things, and they're way down, and it's pressuring their budgets. The number of apprenticeships, the funding is increased for apprenticeships, but there's still a lot of bottlenecks to expanding those programs. They're a small percentage of it. And I don't see this alleviating for some time because millennials like myself, although I'm like the world's oldest millennial now, very old, we've entered our peak household formation years. And so that's actually putting a lot of demand on supply. And I think that's kind of millennials who are forming houses, buying houses, forming relationships, raising children, they have to spend. It's going to continue. They can't just curb that spending. And so is that sort of just like the baby boomers in the past, when that bulb goes through that bulb in the stake passes through, there is going to be, despite the inflationary environment, an inability to curb, which will just keep up the demand and keep up the price pressure. So there's a lot of things to say that our labor pipeline, which is frankly not in balance right now, is not going to change anytime soon. I don't mean to end and say our new Renton Technical College president has all of the answers, but I am very delighted that Dr. Yoshiko Hardin is kind of good timing to the presentation today. I've learned that they put out a public announcement. I have not met Dr. Yoshiko Hardin yet. I would encourage the council and the city to invite the new president of Renton Technical College here, just like we heard from Superintendent Israel Vela earlier. It is important for our Kent Valley manufacturing. A lot of the key programs for technical education, a lot of the key training programs for some of our largest employers are at Renton Technical College. And she brings, I read, a great experience from Seattle Central Community College, and President McCarthy is retiring in a few days, and she will take over here in July. So I just wanted to point out that I think it's good to continue to hear from our local educators, given the landscape that we're looking at with labor shortage.
All right.
No,
Thank you, Bill. Questions for Bill?
Just a comment. I mean, really, Bill, I'd like to just thank you for all the work that you do. I mean, you really are reaching out and making sure Kent is on the map and bringing stuff to Kent and so on, similar to the program you brought earlier. So, I mean, you are definitely on the leading edge, and I really appreciate you just, going out and bringing stuff to Kent and making sure people are aware of what they can do in Kent. So, kudos to you.
Thank you, Council President.
Yeah, I will follow that up. Exact same thought that I was having. I want to say thank you to you, Bill and Michelle, our economic development team, small but mighty. The amount of contacts and relationship building that is going on with our businesses, future businesses, working to attract, retain, and then the housing front. It's not just about business, it's also about where are people going to live. Tremendous amount of work being done there by Bill and Michelle, working with all of the players in the region. And I just, everywhere I go, I hear really good things from our neighboring cities about the work that our economic development team is doing. So Thank you, and thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Mayor.
I forgot Michelle. Thanks, Michelle. Sorry.
Michelle does a wonderful job.
Yes, she does.
A lot of outreach.
But between the two of you, I don't know that there's anybody in any of these arenas that you don't know. So I'm grateful for that relationship development. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I feel like at this point we cannot top any of the things that we have heard tonight. So now down to the more mundane business part of the meeting. We will move into reports from everybody you see seated up here on the dais, all the work that is being done outside of these council meetings and the committee meetings representing Kent, making sure that Kent's voice is being heard and is a part of those conversations, both as policy is set around the region and as funding sources become available. So a couple of highlights. It feels like it's been forever since the council met, and it's because we did not have a meeting the week of July 4th. So a lot of things going on. Had an opportunity right after the last council meeting to testify at the Sound Transit meeting. Want to report back that I'm really happy to say Sound Transit Board approved Kent Des Moines Station as the station name for the station at Kent Des Moines Road. So we're really excited about that. Feel like it was definitely the right choice, and want to thank the Sound Transit Board members that supported that. We are talking about flooding season here. So I chair the Flood Control Advisory Board. That is a group of regional electeds that come together to provide advice to the King County Flood Control District regarding their budget each year. We had the preliminary budget presented at the last meeting, and we'll be taking a deeper dive into that next week at that meeting. Again, really important for the city of Kent as we have the whole length of the Green River that runs through the city and the floods, the levees that needed to be built there. So we're talking about millions and millions and millions of dollars coming into the city of Kent. We would not have been able to build those levee projects without the Flood Control District. Councilmember Troutner is the alternate on that committee. This last week, we had a 167 master plan meeting. So quite some time ago, the legislature linked 167 and 405 together as a corridor for the purposes of planning and funding expansion. The problem with that is there was a 405 master plan, but there was never a 167 master plan. So then when money became available, it went to the projects on the plan, which meant it's going to the projects on 405. Working together with the city of Auburn, we were able to lobby for and successfully get funding from the state to start a 167 master plan program. Really excited about that. I mean, it's all very long range things, but at our meeting this last week, we had presentation on some of the alternatives as we're going through the plan. Status quo option, what does that look like? And then there were some very interesting alternatives proposed, things that had more to do with development inside of cities as opposed to on the freeway. Didn't make a lot of sense in looking at them. There were some town center options and that kind of thing. We're really making sure that we're doing this work with an equity lens. And so did a lot of outreach to community, but the response came back for things like, I want to access a farmer's market. Well, the reality is most people aren't accessing a farmer's market using 167. What they are doing is going to work. And so it is our belief that we need to do both an increase in capacity as well as a transit option on 167. They're very long trips, varied times during the day. So we will continue to be working towards some sort of alternative that will meet those needs, which are, I think, what our team believes to be the most realistic needs for 167. Back on flooding, the Lower Green River Executive Steering Committee met. That is a group that was convened by the Councilmember Dave Upthegrove, who is also the chair of the Flood Control District. And we are talking about what it looks like to do a cohesive plan for the Lower Green River. And Kent has been a leader in this. We know that the river, we need to have flood protection. That's key. But we also, as we work on the river, it's a recreation opportunity, it's a habitat improvement opportunity, and it's an economic opportunity. So this group is working to figure out what does a master plan look like for that section of the river so we can meet all of those needs. And we'll be coming through the environmental impact study on that Lower Green here shortly, and I will report those things back. Finally, last Transportation Policy Board at Puget Sound Regional Council, we distributed some additional funding for the federal transit money. It's amazing the amount of money that's coming from the federal government in the $1 billion range for transit. So that is distributed out through the transit agencies in the area. Think Metro, Sound Transit, Pierce Transit, Kitsap Transit, those kind of things. So we provided a recommendation on that funding. With that, I am going to look to my right all the way to the end and have our interim chief administrative officer, Pat Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think my mic is on. So this is going to be a very, very detailed report. Two things. Number one, the CAO report is in the council packet. And number two, we don't have an executive session tonight. That ends my detailed report.
Uh-oh.
All right, now I will turn it over to Council President Boyce.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Been a very interesting night tonight. A lot of good things going on for the city of Kent, so that's really good. In our Operation Public Safety meeting, we did have an emergent ordinance that we had to approve. This around amending the Kent Code to be in line with the state law. We also approved upgrade to an uninterruptible power supply for City Hall. So just in case the power will go down, we want to make sure the power will continue to go on. And then also our finance report for the month of May, really looking good. The city is tracking on or above on where we should be, and our fund balances are still pretty strong. So that was it pretty much for the Operation in Public Safety. And then for our workshop, we had some great presentation. We have the superintendent of the Kent School District, Israel Vela, and then we talked about South King Housing and Homeless Partnership, which is called SKIP, and then the community route housing. I would say for the Kent School Board, the superintendent did a great report for us, what's going on. He talked about finishing strong. He thanked everybody for the levy that was passed, 55%, which is that's pretty solid. That's great support from the community. He also talked about Start Strong, which is they got like a 3-tier tier system, really. One is tier 1 is support given to all students. Tier 2 support for groups of all students, and tier 3 was support for individual students. And then also he talked a lot about school safety. You know, we want to make sure that our kids are safe and feel safe in the school, so they got some good things going on around safety and security. And also with the SRO contract, he was very pleased about that. And also they're looking at me doing a bond coming up sometime next year, where they be looking at their school building roofs and possible more stuff around security. I do want to add too that we'll begin to establish a relationship back with the school district. The mayor meet with him on a regular basis, and we as city council could be setting something up so we can start meeting with the school board, because there's definitely a connection between what we do in the city and what goes on in the school. So I'm looking forward to that to be coming up here pretty shortly. We also had a report on the South King County Housing and Homeless Partnership. I think Marley was requested to bring that forward, and that was a really great presentation. Just to give you a little more about this, they was established through an interlocal agreement to work together and share resources to increase the available options for South King County resident and affordable homes. I'm going to just kind of real quickly here talk about some of their goals. I'm going to read these out. The first goal is to find strategy and direction and long-term goals to implement SKIP in the local agreement. They want to build long-term sustainability for SKIP housing and capital funds, work with partners jurisdiction to enhance and develop new local policy and program to protect existing affordable housing stock, provide housing security and acceleration accessible to affordable houses. They also want to represent South King County and unique affordable housing need. As we all know, there is a shortage of houses here in the area here. And last but not least, they want to strengthen regional stakeholders' understanding of the spectrum of affordable housing option, which relate to needs of opportunity and the housing system. And the last one, we have the community route housing, right? And a great presentation by that team, and Bill Ellis kind of led away. And it's also, they looking at the end of the day, there's a what you call a missing middle, right? And we just don't have enough affordable homes here in the city and the state. So we got this group and then SKIP really just looking for ways to provide a place where people can put a roof over their head, feel safe, and we just got a wet appetizer from the community roots, and we're looking forward to them coming back and bringing some option on how we can implement some of this here in the city of Kent. As for Sound City Association, we had a short meeting, nothing really critical that needed to be reported out, and then we will be taking the month of August off. Okay, I'm going to start to my left with Councilmember Michaud.
Thank you, Council President. My committees have not met since last time I spoke here, but there were some cool things going on with the Parks Department. Recently, they had 2 public engagement opportunities. This last one was this past weekend at Mill Creek Canyon Earthworks Park, and they had some design boards out there where they were interactive and people could give input on future park designs there. Those boards will be available at the Kent Library. So if you missed the meeting in the park, you can go see them at the library. And then the other one was a couple weekends ago at the East Hill North Community Park at the Hughes property. And more than 150 people came out that day to give their input there. So that was really great. If you missed either of those events, you can give your feedback at engagekentparks.com. And then this Thursday, I am on the Human Services Commission, and this Thursday we are making final recommendations for the grant funding, and those will come forward to council. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Michaud. Councilmember McCord.
Thank you, Council President. I serve as the chair for Puget Sound Clean Air Agency Advisory Council, and we met on the 13th. Our presentation included electric vehicle charging, presentation on possibly public-private partnership. We also had presentation on the equity work that the agency is doing internally and externally. They're hosting events at various fairs and cultural events, giving fans and filters to the communities and educating them on air quality. We also had a conversation on our strategic planning and had a conversation about how EPA is looking to reevaluate their national ambient air quality standards in 2023. What was the most interesting part of this was the education piece on wildfires, because it is the season. Yeah. They're coming, so to reduce exposure, you can look at the forecast on air quality. You can just Google air quality levels. And making sure we are providing access to clean and cool, safe spaces such as libraries or public spaces. Indoor filters or MERV 13 filter fans, they include air quality quite a bit, so you could probably get those on Amazon or contact the agency and they should be able to support with that. And I did not know this, the recirculating feature in your vehicle is very helpful when the air quality is pretty bad, but make sure you have your windows closed. And also use of N95 mask can be very helpful when going outdoors for individuals who have health issues. So I think that was a great informational piece that the agency is working on, educating the community. And what was one of the interesting things I learned was from Bainbridge Mayor, he mentioned that he got a grant for 2 EV chargers and 2 EV vehicles for community car share programs. So I think that was kind of cool. And maybe other communities should also be looking into that. So that ends my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember McCord. Councilmember Larmer.
Thank you, Council President. I serve on the King County Affordable Housing Committee, and we will not meet until next week, so I'll have a report next session.
Thank you. And Councilmember Troutner.
Thank you, Council President. I am chair of the Economic and Community Development Committee. We had our last meeting on July 11th, and there were 2 presentations. The first was an update on the rental housing inspection program. We also had a general update on the preliminary analysis for the new tax tool for housing. So if you are interested in either of those topics, you can find the notes and the video for that on kentwa.gov. I am also vice chair of the Regional Transit Committee, and I serve along with our King County Councilmember Dave Upthegrove. We did not meet in July. We are taking August off, so I will report back on that in September, and that ends my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Troutner. Councilmember Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. President. I serve on the council, Puget Sound Regional
Fire Authority, and along with Council President Boyce and Council Member Troutner. And I have no report for last month. However, we do have a meeting tomorrow night at 5:30 at Station 78. As another kind of extension of my report, I serve as chairman of the Citizens Advisory Committee for the Regional Fire Authority, and we took a nice tour of Valleycom this past week, and it was excellent, and it was enjoyed by all. We learned a lot. And that is my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Thomas. Councilmember Fincher.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'm going to report first on MID, Mental Illness and Drug Dependency Advisory Council. We will not actually meet again till next week, but I was thinking after the last report, I left some things out, so I'm going to catch up on that. Some of the things from our annual report that I failed to mention were, and it would be a good idea to take a look at it. You can get all of the exact numbers and the performance measures that were used with the individual strategies, but we saw a decrease in depression, and that's among all age groups. We looked at the services. There are a number of services that MID provides to elders. Just like we hear about depression in teens, elders also suffer quite a bit of depression, especially with the pandemic. So they're able to look and see how people are doing at the onset of their visit and then later on, so we're able to increase there. Able to reduce the recidivism of both folks going to jail and being readmitted into the hospital for different mental illness issues. As far as for the jails, part of that would be due to the therapeutic courts, but we're also trying to have it nailed down to say that it's not just MID. There could be other causes too. So looking at all of the causes, whether it was jail bookings and other things, so bringing all of that into the system to make it clear and transparent. So just a lot is in that report. So make sure to take a look at that if you get a chance. We have King Conservation District. The report will be will be turned into King County this week, and that's the annual report for King Conservation District. Taking a look at what our meeting schedule is, we won't meet again until next month. We have the Arts Commission, which has purchased, I mentioned last time we had the artist reception, and so those purchases that were recommended have been approved and moved on to council. And Chestnut Ridge install is looking pretty good. So if you get a chance to get out there to the Chestnut Ridge Park, take a look at what's the artwork out there. And also the traffic boxes, those proposals, you should see new traffic art, the artwork on the new traffic control boxes. You should see that start appearing late August, early September. So that is it for now. Kent Creates Judging has just closed, or closes tomorrow. And so all of that will be, who gets those stipends, the winners will be out soon. And with Public Works Committee, we had a speed limit adoption, which was moved on to here. So that is just making the speed limits in Kent consistent with bringing some of the annexation areas in so the speed limits are consistent with the rest of the city. We know what the state limits already say, so signs will be going up wherever it differentiates from that. We don't have to have a sign if it's already the regular posted limit, as you know from your driving test. And the other one is we're going to be moving some water mains, so we had an interlocal agreement with Covington to do that. So that is it.
Thank you, Councilmember Fincher. Busy as usual, which is a good thing. Madam Mayor, that ends our report.
All right. Thank you, Council President. We will move on the agenda. Item number 6 is a public hearing. We do not have a public hearing this evening. Item number 7 is public comment. This is an opportunity for the public to speak to the council or mayor on issues that relate to the business of the city or agenda items that council will consider at this meeting. Comments that do not relate to the business of the city are not permitted. And I also want to remind people that Washington state law prevents anyone from using public comment to support or oppose a ballot measure or a candidate for office. We do have a 3-minute allowance for public comment. We'll have a timer up on the screen. Kim, can you please call our speakers?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have two people signed up to speak. The first one is Tim Brown, and the second one is Van Hurst.
You can come up and join us at the podium and state your name and city of residence for the record, please.
My name is Tim Brown. I live here in Kent, and for a second time, I'm not here to talk about the Mill Creek Canyon. I went down to Kent Cornucopia, and after it being gone for 2 years, I really expected to see not much there, maybe only about half of it. I was very surprised to see it was come back as strong as it did, that our parade was so wonderful, and I wanted to just thank all the different departments that were involved, to thank the Parks Department for what they did to make it happen, the Street Department, the Police Department, and most of all, thank the Kent Lions for all the work they did to make it come back Kent strong. It was a wonderful time. I ate everything. and Wally and the Beeves band was back again, and they're a wonderful program. So it was just thank you, Kent Lions, and all the unsung heroes helped make that happen. It was great.
Yeah.
Thank you, too. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely a huge thank you to the Kent Lions and Randy for all the work that they put in this year, and then all of our city departments that supported.
My name is Van Hurst. I live here in the city of Kent. I work in the city of Kent 5 days a week. I travel extensively for a variety of reasons. I belong to the Teamsters International Union, and I travel with them. I promote opportunity football at various levels. And I also have a House bill and a Senate bill in the U.S. Congress. I go and meet community organizations, trade groups, various groups, and talk. Every time I go someplace, I tell them I'm from Kent, Washington. They ask where it's at. I tell them it's 5 miles east of SeaTac Airport. During the last several months, the local hockey team made it all the way into the championship of the WHL. The local broadcasts at never one point in time said the word Kent. It was never brought up.
Yeah.
I messaged broadcasters with a sports network called TSN in Canada. When they were the primary broadcasters, they continually mentioned the word Kent. Well, why can I do that? And this council and mayor cannot engage this community-based company that is subsidized by the citizens of Kent to rebrand as Kent and to identify as Kent. I've sat through meetings, I've sat through panels. They talk about, oh, we got a patch, we got a logo. It says nothing Kent. It's got the little fancy graphic for Kent. It doesn't say anything about Kent. It's time for the wheel to get turning again. This council, the mayor, the administrative officer, whoever it takes, needs to engage these people and get Kent on the map. We are one of, depending on who you check, we are one of the top 200 cities in population in the United States now. Yep. And it shouldn't be my mission to go out and introduce the city of Kent. Luckily enough for me, Sunday night, I'm going to be on international television introducing a rebranded sports organization. Where am I going to tell them I'm from? Kent. Yeah. If an international organization can rebrand, why can't the Thunderbirds rebrand? It's time. We need to quit subsidizing them. Second part of it is the operator of the Showware Center is not engaging the proper people, the proper promoters. I travel, like I said. I talk to operators in various facilities, venues, and stadiums around the United States. And I say, how are you keeping your calendar so full? We're reaching out to people within our own organization at other locations and seeing what was successful in our size venue, and we're rebooking those people. We're talking to them. It's obviously not happened here because the Public Stadium Authority, which operates Lumen Field, also operates WAMU Theater. They are fully engaged. If you go to their public meetings, they talk about how robust their calendar is. It's the same size facility. So it's time that the council and the mayor get back on it and get these people motivated. Thank you.
Thank you.
have no other speakers, ma'am.
All right, I do have a letter and a signature page regarding fireworks and fireworks ordinance that we will have placed as a part of the record.
There was two ladies that were here to speak on that, and they ended up not being able to stay. So
Okay.
they asked that I hand that out.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, we will move on to the consent calendar. This is a compilation of work that the council has done at the committee meetings where they've received presentations, had an opportunity to ask questions, engage in conversation, and things have passed out of those committees without controversy. We have items A through F this evening. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'd like a motion to approve the consent calendar, item A through F.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9 is other business. We have 2 items this evening. First one is to set an August 16th, 2022 public hearing for alleyway vacation in Bridges Avenue, Railroad Avenue neighborhood. And joining us is our Public Works Director, Chad Buren.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I was here a couple of months ago, talked about a process to vacate an alleyway just south of Willis Street and west of Central Avenue to help out some of the neighbors down there who are dealing with crime and trash in the alleyway. Some nearby neighbors are also interested in alley vacation, and so tonight I have a resolution for council to consider to set a public hearing for another vacation. This one we talked about earlier. Next slide. This is, Willis is on the top of this picture, Central on the right side there. And then just south and west of this neighborhood is the one that council approved at a hearing last month. Neighborhood here with neighborhood support has come and asked for vacation of this alley. And we are supportive, the Public Works Department is supportive of it, and just feel it's the next possible step we can take to help the neighborhood out.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Chad?
Does that take care of the whole area now, pretty much, or what? From a safety perspective, is the purple?
So the purple is just the neighborhood itself. The vacation would be just that alleyway right through there. And it doesn't make it all the way up. It stops at the 7-Eleven.
Right.
It's right there in the corner.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Michaud.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Okay, so all of these, Chad, thank you for your presentation. All of these property owners are in agreement with this?
We did talk to one property owner that has a property right in here where the front of the property accesses off of Central, the back accesses off the alley. They are concerned about having access 24 hours a day, but we're working with that property owner and then the folks who are going to set up the gate to make sure that the access is continuous. If you remember last time, we kept an access easement so that if there was a problem, we could exercise an access easement as the city and require them to keep it open and make sure they have their 24-hour day access.
Okay, thanks.
All right, any other questions? All right, then a motion would be in order to adopt the resolution setting the public hearing for August 16th, 2022.
Madam Mayor, I move to adopt resolution number 2048, setting August 16th, 2022 as the date for the public hearing on the petition for the vacation of a portion of the right-of-way between Bridges Avenue South and Central Avenue South and East Willis Street and East Russell Street.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Is any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chad. The next item under other business is an emergency ordinance amending Chapter 9.02 of the Kent City Code. And giving us a presentation this evening is Tammy White.
Hi, good evening, Council. This afternoon you heard at your Operations and Public Safety Committee from Bajan Hughes in our office about this criminal code update. I want to give a little bit more information for you about the ordinance and why it's an emergency, both for your benefit but also for the listening public that might not have known that from the presentation. We come to you every year typically with an update to our Kent City Code, and what we do is we adopt state laws into our code so that our municipal court can deal with misdemeanor and gross misdemeanor crimes, as well as Class C felonies that sometimes form the basis of a criminal attempt charge. We adopt those provisions into our code two ways. One, we have a catch-all adoption where we state all misdemeanor and gross misdemeanor and Class C felony crimes in the state of Washington are adopted into the Kent City Code, and that adoption also includes any recodification of those codes. So if the state legislature moves them from one chapter to a code to another, we have a general provision that covers that. We also do a specific update to our code where we adopt specific sections of the RCW by name, like RCW 101.025 is adopted by reference. Why this is an emergency now is during the 2022 legislative session, our state legislature took all of the various chapters of our civil protection orders, so protection orders for domestic violence, protecting victims of domestic violence, protecting victims of stalking, protecting victims of sexual assault. Those were all in different chapters of the code. The state legislature took them all and put them into one single new chapter, which is chapter 7.105. We have not adopted expressly that chapter into our Kent City Code. We think we're fine with the adoption that we currently have, but a defense attorney has raised the issue in our court. And so in order to ensure that victims are adequately protected, we're bringing this ordinance to you now on an emergency basis. Because this ordinance is being asked to be adopted on an emergency basis, and because our city has adopted the powers of initiative and referendum, an emergency ordinance requires a unanimous adoption. So it does need all of you to vote in favor of the ordinance for it to take effect. Assuming you all pass it unanimously tonight, it will go into effect immediately. One other thing, though, that we have done in this ordinance is with the effective date language, we've provided that once it does take effect, it will relate back to the effective date of the state law that's being adopted by reference. So on the protection order one in particular, that one takes effect on July 1st, so the effective date for that adoption will go back to July 1st. If there were other laws that had an earlier effective date, say in March of this year, that law would be effective as of March, which is when the state legislative action took place. So that is what is being presented to you tonight, and I just wanted to give you that additional information.
Okay. Thank you, Tammy. Any questions? All right, seeing none, a motion would be in order.
I got accused last time of dominating. I'm afraid to say it, but I'm going to do it, okay? All right. Madam Mayor, I recommend council declare an emergency and adopt ordinance number 4436, amending chapter 9.02 of the Kent City Code to incorporate new crimes adopted by the state during the 2021 and 2022 legislative sessions.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, thank you. That brings us down to item number 10, which is bids. We have City Hall Annex tenant improvement bid. Joining us tonight is Will Moore. Will, I do not know how you consistently draw the short straw and end up at the very end of every agenda, but once again, thank you so much for your patience. And we've got a good report and a bid tonight.
Yeah, good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. Thank you for having me. So it does say Kent City Hall Annex. We typically call it the IT Annex because it is where the IT team is housed, a majority of them. And so this project is to remodel that building. It's an old bank with an old vault. It's actually pretty cool. It still has the vault door there and everything. So here's a general floor plan of what it would look like when it's done. A really cool aspect of this project, I'll kind of skip down to that, is we're converting the old vault into a conference room. And that actually requires coring through it, putting a new HVAC unit on the roof for air circulation, so on and so forth. Additional scope of work is new paint and carpet throughout. We're building 2 new managers' offices, a new service desk window, which is actually housed on City Hall 2nd floor now, moves over there. And then new full reconfiguration of the workspace and a new kitchenette for them. So it's a pretty all-encompassing renovation, and I think that vault scope of work in this is actually pretty cool. I'm excited to see how that turns out. And so we did put this out for bid. The bid opening was on June 16th, and we did receive one bid from CFC Construction. It was the lowest responsible bid. It came in at $167,000. So with tax, $183,867. The engineer's estimate was $150,000, which is actually a few months before we're seeing all these rise, as you hear every day. And so we think this is a fair price. With that, I'd like to move to award this to CFC Construction, or ask you to award it to them.
All right, thank you, Will. Any questions? Councilmember Larmer.
Thank you. So question, I know when I toured that building, maybe a year ago, there was a really strong smell of mold and mildew. And I think that was coming from the vault and perhaps the carpeting. Do we feel like that's going to be remediated?
Yeah, so we did do a good faith report or sampling in the vault, and that actually some remediation in the vault is part of the scope of work.
Okay, great, thank you.
One quick question, madam. So how many employees are going to be in that office space there? Do you know roughly how many?
It's each one of those cubicles will be filled with an employee. It's a bit of a flex space right now, honestly, with IT and determining what they want, but it's a minimum, I believe, right now of 15 in there.
Okay.
And so there's some new concepts that they're trying out as well. I don't have the final answer.
That's
though.
good. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Okay, seeing none, a motion would be in order.
Madam Mayor, I move to award the Kent City Hall Annex Tenant Improvement Project bid to CFC Construction LLC in an amount not to exceed $217,998 and authorize the mayor to sign all necessary documents subject to final terms and conditions acceptable to the Parks Director and City Attorney.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us down to the bottom of our agenda. We do not have an executive session this evening, so if there is nothing else for the good of the order, chance to get out there and enjoy a little bit of whatever's left of the sunshine, and have a wonderful evening. We are adjourned.
And so a lot of it, that machine is being used full time.